Welcome back to the Numina podcast, everybody. We are here in Vancouver, Canada. I almost said Vancouver, Washington.
I know, I saw it.
It was there. It was on the lips. And we have the distinct honor of interviewing and hanging out with one of my personal heroes today, Pedro Villalon.
Sure.
Some people have described him as a tea superhero. Tea's Superman is actually what I'm hearing these days.
Most people describe him that way.
That is actually truly how I see you, Pedro.
Thanks,
I want to ask you all about your background and history. You'll do a better job introducing yourself than I will, but I will just say Pedro is one of the owners and tea hunters and procurers of the O5 Tea Bar, which is a rare tea bar and where I get most of my tea from. I'm kind of a tea nerd. And also goes around the world as part of this tea hunting process, searching and developing relationships with all sorts of tea growers, tea artisans, in remote parts of, recently you're in Mongolia, mostly Asia, although interesting other places as well. You have here some tea that you have grown
Yep.
here in Vancouver.
We're going to be drinking that.
So yeah, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming here.
Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, and welcome to Vancouver.
Thank you.
It's a good city, and you came right when the leaves are falling, so it's a beautiful time. Drive to Whistler is going to be fantastic.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excited for that tomorrow.
No, welcome to town, guys. I live here because, well, my family and I think it's an awesome
It's
place.
beautiful.
It is.
We're happy to share it.
Yeah.
So you just got back from a pretty big trip. You were gone for 3 weeks.
It was
in
rushed,
all sorts
yeah.
of remote parts of Asia. Like, can you tell us a little bit about what you did?
A little bit, yeah. So the first part was in Japan, and this year matcha is a problem. The supply is very limited, and demand is through the roof. So,
Why is supply limited?
well, there's a bunch of reasons. One that's extremely important is the harvest wasn't great. The harvest was decimated by global warming, which does exist.
Yeah.
And
What?
yeah,
You heard it here first.
Behold, you're here. There is global warming.
This is a more controversial episode than we were planning on.
But the harvest was bad, so there's no arguing with that. There was a very, very low harvest. And on top of that, everybody wants to drink matcha for, very valid reasons, because matcha is fantastic. It's way more popular than ever in the West. Then there are certain countries that have more barriers to entry to Chinese tea these days.
Yeah.
And Japan doesn't have those barriers. It's not as bad. So everybody's just jumping on Japanese tea. More so matcha. And I've had 4 sourcing trips to Japan this year just to work with some of our friends and suppliers. Some of these guys have been fantastic.
Yeah.
The
You
Furukawa
keep getting the
family,
best
Tsuji.
stuff.
Thank you.
I know.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic, but it's been a lot of work, and
Yeah.
there's been a lot of milling and sourcing trips. So that was number 1 part of my trip. Number 2 part. We have a potential partnership that's super interesting in Xishuangbanna, in Pu'er territory.
Yeah.
Southern China.
Southern China, yeah. So it's my favorite province. 23 ethnic minorities. Think about them like First Nations.
Wow,
They all
cool.
have their own languages. Some of them have their own alphabets.
Whoa.
Wow.
One of them is, at least in my knowledge, the last nation on earth that still writes with hieroglyphs.
Wow.
So it looks like Egyptian script. So Xishuangbanna, or Yunnan in general, is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we have a good opportunity there. So needed to go to Xishuangbanna. And then I have a bunch of really old friends, like 15-year-old friends there. Or friends are 15 years, not 50-year-old friends.
Yeah.
Just to be sure.
I mean,
People that I've
you can
known
have
for
friends that are
15
15 years
years.
old.
Yeah,
We're not
exactly.
judging. We're not judging.
Yeah, exactly. I play with 15-year-old kids. I have kids, so yeah, exactly. But anyway, old friends in Xishuangbanna.
We can cut that.
It's always important. That's okay. It's okay to get friends.
I'm joking.
It's okay, remember? Just make it clear. People that I've known for 15 years, and they're phenomenal. So I had to go see these guys. And then I have another friend who was our, Didi, the Uber in China.
Okay.
So this guy was our Didi driver a few years ago. He drove us from Dali to Monghai, like 13 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
And during that drive, we became good friends. And he's Mongolian. And every Lunar New Year, he tells me, dude, when are you coming to Inner Mongolia? You should come.
Cool.
So I looked at flights,
This was
and
the
they were
year.
possible.
Yeah.
Exactly. He mentioned riding horses and living in yurts. It's minus 10 out there.
How can you go wrong with
You
that?
cannot go wrong with horses and yurts.
Yeah.
Oh.
So horses and yurts it was. If you guys are ever there, I recommend hanging out with Lee Sang-gong,
Yeah.
and he'll take you to, shoot some arrows and
Sounds
That
like a dream.
too.
ride horses.
I'm in.
I recommend it.
And they have a cool tea culture out. That's not like very well known, but it's similar to the Tibetan tea culture.
You know what?
Is it?
It's very similar. Yeah,
Huh.
it's tea and dark tea and milk,
Huh.
and they add a bit of salt, sometimes sugar, but mostly salt and milk.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's really cool. And then sometimes they add cheese curds,
Oh, interesting.
which I know you guys are
Very
on a-
Wisconsinian.
Yeah.
I grew up
You know,
next to Wisconsin
in
in Chicago.
Wisconsin.
So,
yeah. Do you put cheese curds on your tea in Wisconsin?
Never in the tea. That
No.
I'm.
Well,
that made
now
my
I'm
stomach
going
turn
to.
hearing
Exactly.
that.
That's a different one.
Okay.
No, these guys do add it to the tea, or it's actually cool.
I believe
Very
it.
cool.
I'm
And then
gonna
I
try
went to
it.
a third. You guys are from Third Wave Land, so
Uh-huh.
I ended up going to a third wave roaster in Ordos, of all places, like the Mongolian city.
Is that the capital city?
No, the capital city is Hohhot or
Okay.
Hohhot. Decent coffee there, but there's an awesome third wave roaster in Ordos, of all
Okay.
places. And on top of the other options that they have, they served a Mongolian coffee, which was kind of weird, but it had cheese and beef jerky.
Whoa! In the coffee.
Dude, it was actually good.
Whoa,
Just like a little chunk of
My
beef
brain,
jerky.
I'm
What?
like, what?
That's like people
yeah.
putting the bacon in the cupcakes or the donuts. You know what I'm
It
talking
was
about?
a tiny little bit. And what was really cool is after you drink the whole coffee, there's this tiny little chunk
Like-
of jerky that soaked up with the coffee.
Yeah.
Which was probably delicious, actually.
It was actually good.
Yeah, yeah.
It was actually, well, not vegan, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a vegetarian, so I might abstain from that, but I can appreciate.
you can do
I'll let you know
you can
it
do the
is.
cheese on the
It's-
coffee and just
Yeah.
remove that part.
It sounds
Yeah.
like a cultural experience.
It was a cultural experience. Yeah. So anyway, that was the last trip.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so generally, we're a health, wellness, science focused podcast, and
Good.
we'll ask questions about that. But Heather and I both get distracted by shiny things, and so
It's true.
you sir are a shiny thing.
Thanks.
Yes.
As I mentioned, some people have called you T's Superman. I mean,
Thank you, man.
that's going around. I'm just saying. I'm so curious. Like, how did you get into tea hunting, and like,
Yes.
what is that like? And I want to hear about, like, have there been any dangerous or crazy moments in this tea hunting process?
I'm dangerous, but okay, tea hunting. And let me make some tea for you guys while we.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank
okay,
you.
yeah, let's do it. Let's do
But
it. Oh, by the way,
as we do it.
05T,
Oh yeah, thank you.
logo of
That's the logo.
Pedro's Tea Shop.
Exactly. These are boxes that we made during the pandemic, and this is tea that grew in Richmond, BC, of all places.
Cool.
So let's drink some of these. Apologies, I'm going to use my hands.
No, not a worry.
Just going to put this here. But tea hunting. So I lived in China for a few years. I worked for Procter & Gamble, which is what brought me to Cincinnati, Ohio. So
Okay.
started in Mexico, then Cincinnati, Ohio. Really cool experience. I enjoyed my time with those guys. And of all things, I was in charge of global brands, and I had to travel to Asia very often. So Procter & Gamble flew me to China and the Philippines and
Fun.
Russia a bunch of times. And thanks to those guys.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Some nice adventures.
Exactly. That got me interested in Asia.
Yeah.
And then my next assignment was being the brand manager for Pantene shampoo and conditioner
Mhm.
Yeah.
for China and Hong Kong and Taiwan. So that got me and my family to live in Guangzhou,
Wow,
Yeah.
cool.
in southern China. In Guangzhou, one of the perks of working at Procter & Gamble is you get a driver because
Oh,
Uh-huh.
they don't trust
keep
us
you
driving.
safe. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And that
Yeah, so
driver
to keep them safe. This is actually, I think
to
that's
keep
what I'm
them
hearing.
safe, exactly. And that driver was phenomenal. He became one of my best friends.
Yeah.
So I could get to hang out with Mr.
Thank
Fun.
you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Guangzhou is a large city. You have to drive 45 minutes to go to work and drive 45 minutes home. And I'm with this guy that speaks no English.
Yeah.
So he taught me to speak Chinese because
That's
was
cool.
right there.
That's a tricky language.
You know what? It's
Yeah, you speak a
surprisingly.
little bit.
You speak some?
Speak a little Mandarin.
Oladuzi.
Okay.
He did hear. So I said it correctly.
I'm like,
I
You know what? It's very difficult, in my opinion, to speak it correctly.
Yes.
It's very easy to speak it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could move around. And, thanks to Mr. Fang, I could speak some Chinese. Mm-hmm. And then the guy one day said, hey, my wife, the Lao Jia, the old home, is in Phoenix Mountain. Do you want to come to Phoenix Mountain? Like, dude, let's go to Phoenix Mountain.
Yeah, why not?
So that's a famous place for tea?
It's, Phoenix Oolongs. They come from Phoenix Mountain in northern Guangdong. So Mr. Fang and I decided to drive over to the Phoenix Mountains. I climbed the mountain and I tried some of the tea. And to me, tea had always been very fancy and silver spoons and all that stuff. And it was just not very appealing. But over there was some old lady by the fire cooking some stuff, and it was fantastic.
Cool.
So thanks to Mr. Fang, I started liking tea.
Yeah.
And then one day, my wife and I were thinking, like, what's next in life? And talking to some of my older friends, they said, man, if you ever want to do something else, it's now. Because
before
right,
life continues,
it's now before life continues and things get more complicated. And then I read a book. I think you guys might have read at some point. Yvonne Chouinard, Let My People Go Surfing.
I'm not familiar with it.
So I don't do too many business books, but that one's actually cool. And the thing that's stuck with me the most was, when you're deciding about your career, you should think like a 5-year-old kid. So what would your 5-year-old kid
That's cute.
think?
Like, what lights you up? What makes you excited?
Right, because you're going to be doing it for every day, right?
Yeah.
So
putting most of your day into it, in theory.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're 5 years old, you don't think, one day I'm going to be an executive. Right? That's not how it works. You're going to be a fireman or a jet pilot.
You're thinking about what am I going to be doing, right?
Right. Yeah. And it's fun. Like you think of yourself like just flying a jet or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, I thought about being like a National Geographic explorer.
Oh, that's a great one.
Which is kind of what you do now.
Yeah.
That's sort of what inspired it. Yeah, I was climbing up a mountain and hanging out with some people whose language you don't understand. Yeah. And they're drinking something that's just weird, but it's delicious. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So National Geographic explorers inspired a lot of this.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like thinking like a 5-year-old kid. Not necessarily the best decisions always, but
but
I mean, and it's not, from what I've heard, like there were some rocky moments, but things are pretty cool with O5 Tea. I mean, you guys are one of the premium brands in the world for tea.
Thank you. So we're alive, and people think that we're much larger than what we actually are.
Yeah.
But 13 years later, finances are looking better than ever.
Great.
It's an actual business. There are a few side projects that I can share also. But life is really. I'm super happy. I'm very, very grateful with the people who have chosen to stay with this crazy adventure and all.
Yeah.
And like you guys, like you've been fantastic. Whenever we've had any issues with the matcha supply, you've been most patient, and also thanks for that.
I'm just like, whatever. Like send me any kind of tea. I'm just happy. Like every time. I mean, Heather and I live together right now. Mm-hmm. She has seen when I get a package from O5. I'm like a kid at Christmas.
A little shrine in his
room.
Like,
ooh, what's it going to be today? Even when I know, I just act like I don't know, and I like open it up. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
That's my true experience. Also, like one of the things I love about what you guys do, which really made me fall more in love with tea and with matcha specifically, you guys make those cards. Like you really educate your consumers, like your customers, on what they're drinking and why it matters, like where it comes from, what they can be tasting. So the experience becomes much more rich. Thank you. Like I have really valued that from the beginning. That gives me a feeling of like depth when I'm drinking tea.
Thank you. No, it all started because a lot of the stuff that we have is just weird. Like some of our teas make no sense to ordinary people.
Yeah.
Because we try to find all there are some teas that I'm extremely passionate about, and they are mostly disappearing from the face of Earth, like Kancha or Mimasaka Bancha. There's only 2 people who still make that kind of tea.
Those are Japanese folk teas.
Right, Japanese folk teas, or it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you don't make an effort and share it with more people, well, they're not going to fly. They're going to disappear at some point.
Yeah.
And if you just give it to people without any background,
it won't matter to them.
It won't matter. Yeah. Exactly. So being able to share the stories and being able to talk to people who actually appreciate it, it's fantastic. It's a huge opportunity. And one of the really cool things is going and sourcing. The other very cool thing is sharing with people at the bar.
Yeah.
You get a lot of friends from just being at the bar. And
Cool.
Yeah, it's a great place
really
to connect. Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of drinking tea, can you tell us about what we're drinking right now? You grew this yourself.
Yeah, so this grew in my backyard. These plants are 8 years old now. And every time I end up in Asia, I try to learn what people are doing and then try to replicate some of it here in Vancouver. This is a slightly more oxidized white tea. So I let the leaves wither for a couple of days. We don't have the same very high temperature, very, very hot summers as Fuding, for example, where this tea was inspired.
Okay.
And then I put it after it was 3 days withering, and then it was dried in the dashboard of my car.
Nice.
And in dashboards, it dries in half an hour.
Wow.
That's how I dry my socks when they get
Brilliant.
wet.
Exactly. Dashboards are super efficient.
Yeah.
I'm just they have all the beautiful names for the teas in China, like the white moonlight and all of these different names. Like, I'm just thinking in a couple hundred years, we'll have a tea tradition here called car dashboard or something like that.
Exactly.
Like Nissan Essence.
White dashboard or something.
There are better names and there are terrible names, like Dokshet Oolong. That's not.
But that's also amazing in its own way,
cool,
right?
Exactly.
Right. It's a little tongue in cheek.
It's a little tongue in cheek, but it's also pretty good. This is a dashboard.
This is white dashboard.
Right, exactly. And I can also share with you guys, I've been making some anaerobic fermentation teas inspired by Tokushima. And I have some iced tea. So the winter tea inspired by Ishimoto-san, who is the last lady that we know of who still makes kancha commercially in Japan.
Wow.
Tell us about what that is. This is a specific
kancha,
type of tea.
Yeah. Okay. So kancha is one of my passions. It's a winter tea, and it's a tea that was popular in Japan back in the day. It was not a fancy tea or for export, it was a tea that people drank in the countryside. They drank it, number one, because it was really cheap, because you use winter leaves. You don't really decimate your source of revenue. They also drank it because it's very delicious. So apparently, according to Ishimoto-san, in winter, the plant gets all the nutrients in the leaves, and that's what makes it so sweet.
Oh, fascinating.
That might be true. The fact that it's because it's storing all these nutrients in winter, but fact is, it's a very, very delicious tea. It's super pleasant. It's super sweet. You can really not oversteep it, and it's made by an 89-year-old lady who lives in a village with a population of 11.
Whoa!
And I'll have to show you the videos, but Ishimoto-san is she's just on fire. She's
I
tiny,
want to see this.
but she climbs ladders. And she works in winter outside. There's rain, everything. It's 5 Celsius. And she's harvesting the leaves and doing everything by hand. She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then she makes sushi and she drives to the village and sells the sushi.
Cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to be like Ishimoto-san.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I want to be moving and
Amazing. We visited her in August last year because I invited some friends from Bhutan to Japan to come and make agua pancha, like anaerobic fermentation tea. So the Bhutanese people, they taught locals about Bhutanese oak ash fermented tea, and they learn how to make.
The oak ash tea that I've drank from 05 is incredible.
Thanks, man.
Love it. And also is very sweet.
It's also super sweet. That's fermented. Yeah. That's a really cool one, made by the Chen Pelden. So the same lady who made that tea, she came to Japan to learn how to make anaerobic fermentation.
Cool.
And it's fun. And now she released her first batch of agua pancha made in Bhutan.
Wow. So you're also facilitating these connections between cultures. This also gets at something that I know there's very basics of tea, but a lot of people don't know this. Not all of our listeners are tea drinkers. All of these teas come from the same plant.
Sort of.
Okay. Well, right. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into that. Let's get into that, please.
So all of these teas come from a plant called Camellia sinensis. Now, there are different kinds of apples, right? And they're not, they're very different. They have different tastes and everything else. And there are different dogs. There are Saint Bernards and there are Chihuahuas. And they're all dogs, but it's very hard to cross a Saint Bernard with a Chihuahua because it would be funny.
Sure. Right, let's not think about the logistics there.
Think about logistics of Chihuahuas. So tea plants, they're all Camellia sinensis. There are 2 big branches. euphemistically. One is Camellia sinensis, the other one is Camellia sinensis assamica, whereas assamica tends to be the larger trees, and they will have different flavor profiles.
Okay, also asterisk, we'll come back to this.
Yeah.
You mentioned trees. People don't normally think of that tea as a tree.
A tree,
but we'll come back.
Right. Okay, so some can be a little bush, like a chihuahua.
Yeah.
And some can be massive. And we'll show you the pictures here, but they can be 7-8 meters tall.
Wow.
So they can be gigantic. And then there's like these other subspecies of camellia. There's one called Camellia thaliensis. There's one called Camellia crassicolumba. There are other camellias that can also be used to make quote unquote tea.
Okay.
And they can also be super delicious, but they wouldn't be classified as Camellia sinensis. They're different species of camellia. Not japonica, because that doesn't taste delicious, but assamica or thaliensis, for example.
That's the wild bush tea that you sell? Is that it?
No, that's the wild bush. That's formosensis.
Formosensis.
So that's another species from Taiwan.
Okay.
But like you could argue that they're all from a camellia plant. And
there's some divergence of the species.
Right. And then there will be something called varietals. So even with Camellia sinensis, there will be a bunch of varietals. And think about them the way you would think of them, or let's call them cultivars, which is a bit more precise. But think about them like you would of a Merlot and Cabernet Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon or all of these. The grapes will all be Vitis vinifera, but they taste different and look different.
And I imagine that the terrain, the minerals in the terrain,
that the roar would do it. Yeah, absolutely. It's true. No, they would. Where it
really
grows.
Hope my girlfriend doesn't watch this.
Yeah,
she's French. She'll never forgive me.
She would get it.
Okay.
French are some of the best tea drinkers in the world.
They appreciate. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because they appreciate delicious things. They like their cheese and their wine, and so French people are pretty good.
You might say they're connoisseurs.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, connoisseurs aside.
Yes.
So tea, different types of tea plants, different cultivars.
Correct.
So most of these are like different cultivars of the same species.
Yes.
That we're talking about.
Yes. So a lot of the tea is made with Camellia sinensis, particularly north of the Yangtze River. And Camellia sinensis, actually not just north of the Yangtze River, but even Fujian and Guangdong. A lot of these will be Camellia sinensis, and there will be a bunch of cultivars within Wuyi Mountain, for example. You will get Rogui and Shuixian, Tielohan, as examples of cultivars. In Japan, you'll have Yabukita, Samidori, Okumidori, and as you've seen from the matcha, they taste completely different.
Dramatically
different. They can grow in the same, side by side. They will taste completely different.
And then you can process them all differently.
And then you can
same cultivar, but you can process it differently. You get green, black, what you would think of as oolong or partially oxidized.
We should talk about that as well. I think most people don't know the difference, how something becomes an oolong, how something becomes green tea. Can you explain that?
Yeah, of course. I think we can use an analogy. So green tea is a tea that has not been oxidized. And to prevent the oxidation or the oxidation process, what you have to do is you have to apply heat, which will deactivate the enzymes that produce your oxidation. So green tea can be the killing the green process can be done in two ways. Mostly. One is steaming, which is what you get with the Japanese sencha and gyokuro and the likes. Mm-hmm. The other one is pan firing, which will give you the longjing, bilochun that you can try in China.
Most of the rest of the world that has green tea does pan firing.
A lot of the world does pan firing. Uh-huh. And Chinese, the other tea that we're going to drink today, it's a
Chinese steamed tea.
Yeah, so the Chinese were steaming tea a long time ago.
Right.
Very few Chinese people do it these days. There is an example of a really cool tea in Hubei that is steamed and it's delicious.
Excited to taste it. By the way, your white tea was delicious.
Yes,
thank you. Let me give you a bit more water because but the tea that you use for green is a tea that has not been oxidized. Uh-huh. And one thing that we should say is, imagine that you have a leaf, right? Any leaf, just choose whatever leaf. The leaf is most likely, the vast majority of leaves are green. You'll get some pink ones, whatever.
Yeah.
But fresh leaves are usually green. If you leave this leaf on the table for a while, it'll become yellowish. And in the beginning, it's going to be a little bit yellow, but mostly green. And at some point, it's going to be mostly yellow with maybe hints of green. That's what you would get for an oolong. It's a partially oxidized leaf.
Okay.
Some oolongs are just slightly oxidized. Some oolongs are more oxidized. But an oolong is a leaf that has been oxidized a little bit.
And that changes the flavor.
And it changes the flavor. Absolutely. Many of the really cool aromatics that we get in teas are triggered by stressing the leaf in one way or another, oxidizing it, for example. So many of the super cool aromatics are a process or are a result of this process. If the leaf becomes really, really dark, that would be similar to a black tea. That's a very oxidized leaf. And then just to make things a bit more complicated, we have another process which can happen in parallel, which is called fermentation. And fermentation is what would produce something that we call dark tea. In Chinese, they would call it heicha, which literally translates as black tea.
What they call black tea, red tea, right?
Right. What we call black tea, they call red tea. What they call black tea, we in the West call dark tea.
Sure.
Or thé sombre in French. But yeah, we use a different term for this. And this means it's a tea that has been fermented. Fermented as in there's some microbial interaction between the leaf and whatever microbes.
Right.
And here you have two choices. You can do an aerobic fermentation, which is what happens with Butanisti, the oak ash fermented tea, or you can do an anaerobic fermentation in water, which is what happens with agua bancha or the second fermentation of goishi-cha. It's completely different. The anaerobic fermentation will give you a sour tea, like a very, very fruity, almost tamarind-like tea. And aerobic fermentation will result into something more like what we know as cooked pu'er. Right. Yeah. Very earthy, very rich. Pu'er can also, you can pile ferment, or you can do a long-term slow fermentation. It's called post-fermentation, which means you process the tea very much like a green tea. So you pan fire it, you press it, and then you forget about it for maybe 20 years.
Wow.
And in 20 years, whatever microbes are in the air, they work on the tea and they age it and ferment it slowly.
What's the oldest tea you've tasted?
Well, anecdotally, if I got it correct, about 100 years old.
Wow!
I've tried a couple that are probably in that range.
Wow!
And they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
One of them is thanks to a very old friend of mine who owns a tea shop here called the Chinese Tea Shop. You have time. The guy's phenomenal, and he has been collecting tea forever. And he's super generous guy. So Daniel Loy from Chinese Tea Shop, really cool dude.
Yeah.
One of them was from him. Another one from other old friends in China who were very generous in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Qishongbana.
Good. I was gonna say something.
Yeah, you should go.
Let me go.
Your turn.
It's really important. This is a really important question,
countdown.
guys.
1, 2, 3.
I'll go.
So go. Okay. All right, your turn.
This is actually not an important question. I imagine, like, when you're saying this, I imagine you have like a tea cellar where some people might have wine sitting there,
Oh, you totally can. You totally can. And people do. You have a place where you age your tea, and the microbial composition of the whole atmosphere enhances your other teas. So yeah, that is a thing.
Yeah.
And one of the projects that we have is we want to work. So we have a partnership potential with an awesome guy in China. He's a Taiwanese who's been living in Xishuangbanna, in Yiwu more specifically, for the last 40 years. And we would like to work more often with people who are into wine and whiskey and know that concept and help them to build collections and cellars of tea in North America. So that's something that we're going to be working more actively on over the next 12 months.
Pedro, you know who to talk to.
Yeah,
when you get into that, I'm so wanting to do that.
There are a few things that are fantastic. So for the sake of the example, with my kids, which I have 5.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Big
I have-
family.
What's the spread?
Well, the oldest one is 21 and the little guy is 7. So
Okay.
we have 2 Americans, a Hong Konger, and 2 born in Canada.
Wow, no way.
But one of them was born in Hong Kong. But of those 5 kids, the tradition is when they're born, we get them a little tea cake.
Yeah.
And then when they're 18, they can choose to drink it or to keep it or to sell it and whatever they want. But when they're born, they have a tea cake.
That's weird.
One of the ones that's easiest to trace is the one that I got for my daughter Adriana. She was born in 2012, and I got her a little tea cake from a famous brand called Tiancha. And that tea cake it retailed for $200 Canadian in 2012. Right now, if you look for that tea cake in China, officially the official price for that guy is 6,500 Canadian in China.
We need to be investing in tea.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Come on, Sam.
Forget about the stock market.
Dude,
Help me invest in
There
tea.
are some teas
That's
that
wild.
they just
Yeah.
catch fire. So it became a collectible item, and that particular tea cake is now very expensive.
Yeah.
I have an open one. If you guys want to try it, I have an open one of that cake, and
Yeah,
we can drink it.
absolutely.
But then
yes.
Adriana is sitting on a
Yeah.
tea cake that's worth $6,500
She your
right now.
favorite.
Wow.
She your
You know
favorite.
what?
I'm just kidding.
She's amazing. But that girl, she just got really lucky.
I
The one that I
know.
purchased that year, it became a collector's item,
Yeah.
and that particular tea is now worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
So it's a good idea from the investment standpoint. It's also a really good idea because how cool is it to
Amazing. You have a cultural heritage. It's more than just the
Right.
money, right? It's like this ancient tradition that you're a part of. I mean, one thing that I've loved that I've seen on your website is like some of the trees in Yunnan, which again, you mentioned, these are like trees like the size of like a forest. Like, this is,
Yeah.
they're like cedar size. They're
huge,
massive.
Right.
They're massive.
So, so some of these have probably been around since like Napoleon's time, for example.
Well, for example, the ones that you'd like Time Traveler,
Yeah.
which we're out of stock now, but Time Traveler comes from trees that are most likely around 500 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
And if you think about 500 years old, the United States was, it had a different flag
Yeah.
and it was very
Yeah.
British.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so was Canada. And there were none of the modern nation states in North America existed.
Wow.
So they're that old. So you're definitely sipping some old tradition.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And speaking of traditions, I imagine there's a huge difference between like British tea tradition, potentially between China and Japan, their traditions with tea.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak to that at all?
You know what? There are so many different traditions. Forget about between countries,
Yeah.
just within China.
Yeah.
If you drink tea with most Chinese people in Guangdong, they will have certain way of doing it.
Mhm.
If you ask people north of the Yangtze River, they're like, oh, those guys, they have no idea what they're doing. And then you go to Taiwan, like, oh, barbarians.
Amateurs.
Of course,
Yeah.
that's not how you do it. So yeah, the
Yeah.
breadth of traditions is huge.
Yeah.
And most people will say, my tradition is correct.
Course.
And everybody else
Of
is a
course.
poor ignorant. And
Yeah.
you'll see a lot of that. I think it's mostly cool to study all and then, try your own. And if whatever you're drinking makes you happy, then it's good. Yeah.
And drink it in a way that's meaningful. Like I love you've called this, like I think you call this grandma style.
Yeah.
Right? Like the way you just threw some leaves in, pour some tea over it or some water over it.
Yeah, well, so in Chinese they use the term gongfu cha. Gongfu as in it requires effort or it requires skill. And it just means that you care. I think that when you're drinking tea, like you're drinking matcha, it's as much about the tea itself, which
As the
thank you
preparation.
farmer and thank you plant and thank you earth and all that stuff. But it's also a lot about you spending a few minutes with your bowl and pouring the water and
Whisking.
Right. So if you were doing martial arts, you would call it a kata.
Yeah.
In tea, you call it temai. But just this procedure where you're paying attention to what you're doing is, I believe, as important as everything else. And people say, like, is matcha really good for you? Well, yeah, maybe. Like if you drink it and you feel great, then it's really good for you.
Yeah.
But the fact that for 5 minutes you're going to be spending your time with this bowl and this powder and whatever, I think that itself is a win for most people.
I love that you said that. I don't know if you know this, and I have messaged with you guys years ago, but I started my tea drinking personal journey while I was living at a Zen temple in Seattle.
Wow.
And every morning I would wake up and whisk some 05 tea into
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
So it's
Zen
very much,
temple.
I couldn't agree with you more. And, that said, there's also some health benefits that are known about tea, and I'm curious if you want to speak to that at all. Like you mentioned all of these different processes of fermenting the tea, or even just the way that you kill the green or don't kill the green, to use that term, or the different cultivars. Like, what is known about some of the health benefits and impacts on the body?
On the body? Okay, so there will be a lot of conflicting information everywhere. Yeah, and some people say this tea is the best for you, whatever. So there are a few things that are facts. Number one, green tea and matcha is antioxidant. Why? Because it's loaded with chlorophyll.
Yeah.
Like it's green. It oxidizes. It's antioxidant, right? So that's a fact. Have antioxidants proven to be good for people in general? Well, yes. In general, yes. Is matcha or very green tea the best for you? Well, it depends. If you believe in Chinese medicine or Asian medicine in general, there are different energies. There's colder energy and dry energy. Like there's different energies. And green tea in general tends to be very cooling. So if you have a very cold nature, maybe doing too much matcha is not the best for you.
An example of that would be like very poor digestion. You can't break down food well. You're physically cold often. Can also be like a sluggishness.
For example, and if you do that and you drink a giant milkshake with matcha, well, maybe not the best. Yeah. But if you have like a little portion and you just feel alert and all, then that's great. There's some literature that says that fermented teas like pu'er are fantastic to help you digest fat and to enhance liver health. Cool. There's some facts that say that. Now, is pu'er the best for you? I think the only way to know if a tea is really good for you or not is to drink it and be aware of what's going on in your body. And if you feel great, that particular tea was fantastic for you.
Yeah.
Facts, one can be antioxidant. Facts, one can be known for in labs to help digest fats. You can get all these pieces of research, of which I'm happy to share some, because I've actually done the task of collecting a few. But I believe that the best way is for you to drink some and see if it's good for you, because what can be good for a lot of people maybe just doesn't fly for you.
Yeah, certainly. And
tea, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, you two, both of you, because Heather actually has a background in Chinese medicine also. But so tea started as a Chinese medical herb. Is that
as an
correct?
Accident, I think.
Was it?
That's the legend. Yeah, the legend says it was accident.
After Bodhidharma ripped his eyelids off.
That's another one. That's another legend.
Okay,
so there's the one legend. Bodhidharma ripped his. But fact is, tea was known well before Bodhidharma. So
yes, of course.
But legend was that there was this guy called Shenong who was the ultimate hippie and experimental dude. So had he been able to go to Brazil, he would have gone to Brazil most likely. So there was this guy, and he was some of the legends say that his belly was transparent, so he could see exactly what was going on in there whenever he consumed any of the herbs and whatever.
I've always been wanting that. That's something
I'm not wanting that.
I've wanted that.
I don't want that for us.
I'm going.
That would be kind of funny.
I'm going to prank you one day and give you that superpower.
That'd be kind of fun. So the guy was he was also able to heal very fast. So he could
experiment,
eat, drink, smoke anything, and then some things were not great, but he could heal.
That's what I always say about myself.
Yeah, well, sort of. Yeah, bro. Yeah, you're a bit of like a modern Shenong. Right. Go to Brazil and try some stuff and see what it does.
I'll take it.
So the guy one day, had some mushrooms or something, and he was, this guy who didn't shave or anything. It was just like a hippie guy. And one day he had some mushrooms which were not the best, and he was not feeling great. His stomach was a bit, taking some time to heal. So he was boiling water, and these leaves from a tree just fell in the water, and he boiled it, and he drank it, and everything just went away. His stomach was great, and his mind was clear, and that's the mythical, or one of the mythical origins of tea.
Oh, cool.
The guy discovered that cures everything. So for the first, few thousand years of tea consumption, tea was mostly used as an ingredient in Chinese medicine. And it was mostly boiled, and you had to add other ingredients, sometimes ginger, sometimes salt. It was not until the Tang Dynasty and a gentleman called Lu Yu.
What years approximately?
Tang Dynasty, I think it's like 600s.
Okay.
I'm going to have to look it up, but I think Tang Dynasty is like 600s and Song Dynasty is like 1100s.
Okay.
And then the Mongols came, and then the Mings. But yeah, around 600, I believe, if I'm correct.
Cool.
And this gentleman called Lu Yu was the first one who wrote a book. He was pretty confident of himself.
Yeah.
So he called the book the tea classic, the Chajing. And so it is. It's a Chajing.
It is now
but he's the first guy who systematized tea drinking and made a big deal of it. And the kata, the temai, he's the first guy who systematized how to consume
Here's how you brew the tea.
Here's how you do it. Here's how you make it.
Yeah,
he had a lot of Confucian influence. So he made a list and he said, this is the top 10 places to get your water, the top 10 places to get your tea, the best way to produce it. But that was, 600 Common Era, which was a few thousand years after tea was first used as a medicine, exactly as you described.
Sure. Interesting.
Yeah. And then Tang Dynasty is kind of cool. And if you guys have a chance to pop by the bar again, I'll give you a couple of coins. But in the Tang Dynasty, you used to boil the tea. So you had these little tablets, which you had to crush and then sift.
And so it's granular?
Not too fine.
Okay.
No, and I'll get a couple of videos.
Yeah.
Right. So it looks like a coin, just like, and there's a string going through the coin and you can hang them all over the place. Yeah. There are still people who make it in China. My friend Jiang Wenhua is phenomenal. And in Korea, there's a similar tea called dokcha. Dokcha is in like the little rice cakes.
Yeah.
So you can make these little coins. You get a mortar, mash it, sift it a bit, and it's like a very coarse powder.
Mm-hmm.
You have your pot, you boil the water, you throw the leaves and a pinch of salt. And then you see the froth coming out. So during the Tang Dynasty, they made all these tea parties and competitions on who got the best froth and all. You have to decant it. It's a really cool.
We haven't changed at all.
We still have tea parties. Still trying to have the best parties, the best broth.
Compete on
That's
froth.
exactly what we're doing still. Those Tang Dynasty had a vision.
Yeah.
And then in Song Dynasty, people started drinking tea in powder form, which is the great grandfather of matcha. One of the places where that custom was practiced was a temple called Qingsan Temple, which is very close to Hangzhou, modern Hangzhou. And that apparently is highly influential, was highly influential in the development of modern Japanese sado or the way of tea. Because a lot of the very famous Buddhist monks from Japan went to study Zen in Qingsan Temple and learn how to drink tea, and then brought part of that tradition back to Japan, where it evolved in a very fantastic, incredible way. So
very different from how Chinese
completely
tea
different,
evolved
right?
From there,
it started with the Chinese powder tea, but then they went down their own rabbit hole and came up with something fantastic on its own.
Wow.
Yeah, which not to get into something very controversial, but
let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, I think it's one of the really cool examples of the benefits of, call it cultural appropriation, because the Japanese guys went and studied that, and then they ran with
their own tradition
and made their own. And you know what? Chinese tea traditions are incredible,
beautiful,
and so are Japanese. And had the Japanese not appropriated that, we wouldn't have all these beautiful things. Not to encourage people to just steal other people's traditions, but
honor them, right?
Honor them,
but own them as like, how can we do
and
this
then run
now?
with it. So maybe at some point we're gonna have a Pacific Northwest tradition,
which clearly you're starting.
I know. I was going to say we're halfway there.
Anchored in all of those guys who are phenomenal. Learn and honor those guys from whom we're learning, but then maybe start a
dashboard tea.
Exactly. Yeah. Dashboard tea. Maybe in 100 years somebody will think that's important.
It'll be a thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now all you need to do is write the definitive tea classic.
That's
the art of the teal.
Exactly.
You might call
the art of the teal. Exactly. There are tea classics. Yeah. No, I'm not yet there. But but tea's good. Tea's good.
Well, I mean, that does beg the question: is there a right way to do things? So do we have to steep at a certain temperature, or does everything need to be washed before you steep it? How many times per leaf? Are there rules that you observe, or is it kind of like
there are guidelines, I think.
Yeah.
So when you're drinking tea with people, when you're making tea for people, the most important thing is, are they happy? It's not about you looking pretty. You know, let's say that you guys come to my place and make matcha for you guys, and maybe your nature is very cold and you're just suffering.
Yeah.
Well, I failed. That doesn't really work. So and you have a bit of background in martial arts, right?
Yeah,
but,
a little
okay.
bit.
So whenever you play with martial arts and you're practicing with a fellow human being, it's not about crushing your fellow human being.
Yeah.
It's about connecting with a fellow human being and being able to do something where both of you get something.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same when you're drinking tea. So you have to be aware of who you're drinking tea with, and if the tea that you're brewing with the guidelines that you think are correct is making people happy and they're smiling, good, you're winning.
Yeah.
If what you're doing is making them feel uncomfortable, then maybe stop it.
Yeah. That's a good life policy.
Right,
actually.
exactly. Maybe change, pivot and do something that will. Number one objective of drinking tea with you guys is we're having a nice conversation and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Right.
That's beautiful.
So there is no right or wrong. It's right or wrong depending on what your objective is and who your drinkers are, I think.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Speaking of which, can we take a little pause and reset so we can try the other tea?
Yeah, let's do.
we're
going to drink some Ming Dynasty style tea, courtesy of Jiang Wenhua. So yeah, let's do it.
Awesome.
Let's get some water.
I'll be right back too. Okay. So we've taken a little break. We've reset so we can have a taste of a new tea.
Look at this, please.
That's the first thing you got to do. You got to take a look at it.
Yeah, and smell it. See if it's any good.
This is beautiful.
Jinx,
is this copper?
Yeah, it's copper.
Nice.
Like
you like your copper utensils. Oh my God.
Japanese people, they make some really nice copper.
You're like Japanese people then.
Yeah. Well,
Heather cooks only with copper.
Really?
It's very difficult to clean.
It is, but it's worth it. It's like heats so evenly.
It's worth it.
Yeah. I do like copper.
Yeah.
I do like copper. Yeah. Although, cast iron, like the really old cast iron, they're also kind of cool.
I prefer that. And you don't have to clean it quite as much.
I know. That pushes on my clutter.
Fair enough.
My OCD.
This is where the
Fair enough.
our personality differences in us come out.
Don't see my car. It's a little bit cluttered right now.
Okay. But we have this Ming Dynasty tea.
Right. Well, so inspired by what the tea that was consumed in the Ming Dynasty. So, and I checked, Tang Dynasty indeed was around 600s.
Nice
so 618 was the start of that guy. But, then came the Song, who were drinking powder tea. Then came the Yuan, who were the Mongols. And, that created some havoc over there in China.
So we've heard.
Yeah, the Mongols.
Heard about that.
Fantastic culture, by the way. Much love for those guys. But then came the Ming, the restoration of Han rule in China. And the Ming people, they based their tea, the first few steps of processing tea were inspired by Song Dynasty. So you're still steaming, or even before that, like Tang Dynasty, you steam the tea. That's how you kill the green. But unlike the other people, they were not drinking tea in a powder form or in tablets. So apparently, what happened when the first Ming emperor came to power, he wanted tea to be more for the common people. Before, tea was a bit of a spiritual pursuit, and it required a lot of education and required a lot of work. And this guy said, you know what, man, everybody should be able to drink tea. Yeah. And if you have to go through so many steps, well, people are not going to do it.
Right.
They had no baristas who would just make
the tea for the people.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Well, you stop before you have all these fancy processes. You steam the leaves, you dry them, you can keep it anywhere, and then you add water, and you're done. So thanks to this Ming guy, tea became a
accessible
beverage, right? Yeah. Not only of the people who could do like run through a bunch of hoops, but who could just
with their copper pots.
Exactly, with copper pots. Anybody could make tea. And if you go to
no judgment for people who have copper pots.
No, copper pots are good. They're good. They're good. But if you hop onto any taxi in China, you'll probably see a bottle that has water and leaves, and they're just gonna filter with their teeth. Yeah. So a lot of that was inspired by the Mings. Cool. In this case, my friend Jiang Wenhua, she used their super little buds.
Yeah.
And she steamed those things. She steamed for about half an hour.
Wow.
And then it was dried in one of these baskets on top of a charcoal burner. So, very, very slow roasting process. She made a really small amount, and it was mostly because she wanted to show me how to make Tang, Song, and then Ming. So a lot of gratitude for her. It was a bit of an interesting process because she offered all that. But by the time I arrived, there were some people with cameras here from Chinese TV.
Uh-huh.
And they needed somebody who was, white-ish. Like the old Mexican goes. Like,
I mean, in China, you're white. Right?
Exactly.
I'm imagining in China,
this
you're
Mexican
white.
guy. And so they needed somebody for a movie about how people in the West also drink tea and all. It was very fun. But for a few days, I had these guys following me everywhere with cameras.
Oh, not fun. That's not fun.
Well, it was kind of weird. But they're nice people. And also... Wenhua taught me how to make this. And
that's really
very
sweet.
Cool.
Yeah, if you guys want to see the Chinese television documentary, I have it.
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
And I really do want your photos. Like, I
I'll
really
send you
want to
pictures
see.
of them.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to be throwing them up like during this podcast session.
Yeah.
We need some older trees, and we need some Ishimoto lady making tea.
I want to also get some view with the arrow, the bow and arrow on the horse.
There are a couple. I was not able to shoot from a horse, but I was able to shoot and ride a horse. But
that's still something.
It was really good. I highly recommend Sangong as a guide in Mongolia.
Yeah.
And his yurts, he has 5 yurts in the middle of nowhere. People were just looking at it like, why do you want to sleep in a yurt in winter? And
I get it.
Yeah,
you have to sleep in a yurt.
Me too.
Yeah,
exactly.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because it didn't make sense to a lot of. They're like, what are these crazy people?
Right. You're choosing to do this?
I went with my. I have an old friend that sometimes travels with me to some of these places.
Yeah.
We're working on a project on Woti, which is my realm.
Yeah.
And martial arts. He's a guy who's been doing martial arts since he's 3 years old.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Extremely capable martial artist. So,
where does he live?
Well, all over, but originally from Portland. His family's in Medford.
Wait, what's his name?
Jeremy Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it might be somebody I know, but I don't know him.
No, Jeremy's from Portland, but then he spends a lot of time in Portland, mostly Medford. But he also has a little house in Himeji and one in Varna in Bulgaria.
Cool.
The guy's all over the place, and he teaches the martial arts in all places. And
I am curious.
Uh-huh.
You're sourcing. I imagine that there's a lot of intention around pesticides, heavy metals. How do you?
There's a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah. How do you ensure that the product that you're getting is quote unquote clean?
Well, ensure. That's a tough question. There are a few things that we try to do. So, number one, sometimes for some teas, when it's like produced in larger amounts, we look for certificates, and that happens for a few of our teas. Producers who actually make in the order of tons.
Yeah.
Then you can get certificates, and there's high preference for things that are clean, right? Mm-hmm. In the cases of some of the smaller teas, it's very difficult because some farmers will make like 20 kilograms and they're never going to get a certificate for 20. It just doesn't fly. Right. And there's also the Japanese custom of looking for perfection, which oftentimes for most of the extremely high grade teas, they're not going to go for organic because they wouldn't get the same kind of umami and the same kind of strength. Yeah. So when possible, certificates are good. Knowing the people and knowing the place also helps. Yeah. Because if we go to the place and there's a bunch of insects and frogs and everything, well, then that place is a place that I want to get tea from.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's been a bit of an aha moment for me over the past few years is look at the old people.
Is it appropriate to cheers?
Of course. Yeah. Cheers. Everything is appropriate.
Salud.
Look at the old people. So, for example, Ishimoto-san. In her place, it's a village with 11 people. Mm-hmm. And the leaves are
89 years old.
Right, exactly. Yeah, she's 89 and she's driving and,
so sweet.
It's probably good. And if you look at the people who are drinking the tea and they're 90 years old, well, then maybe that tea is good for you. And I've also met another farmer who was in Taiwan, and he was telling me that his tea is the healthiest and all that stuff. And the guy was 50 years old and he was falling apart.
Yeah.
So I might.
You don't know for sure, but
it could be for many other reasons. But I would prefer to drink tea from people who are getting old and super active.
Yeah.
And then there's people like that. For example, my friend Yoshida-san, Yoshida Masahiro, his family has been making tea for the last 300 years.
Yeah.
And they have so much pride and they take so much care in everything that they're doing. And again, you look at this gentleman and you look at his father and the older people in the family, and you know that they're proud and they drink the tea and they're super healthy.
Yeah.
So that just gives me a reason to believe that that we're drinking something that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really cool. This is fantastic.
Yeah, this
by the
is
way.
Thank you.
lovely.
It has a lot of nutty flavors to it.
A lot of it is the heated process. So finish
Yeah,
firing.
like toasted.
Right. It's finish fired on charcoal, like 48 hours in this
Yeah.
basket and a little brazier underneath.
Wow. 48 hours.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a slow
Delicious.
process.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get into something a little controversial.
Go for it.
Uh-oh.
Coffee.
Coffee?
Ooh.
Heather used to drink it. I have a
Used
lot.
to?
true.
Not
It's
anymore?
true.
I have a lot of people
I
I love
do.
that drink it.
I
There's
love
nothing
it.
wrong with it.
Yeah. I love it.
Pedro drinks it.
I drink it.
Okay.
I was a very serious coffee drinker,
Uh-huh.
and then I stopped. I
Okay.
needed to stop to do a specific journey,
Okay.
and then just kind of switched into mud water. Do you know what that is?
I've seen it.
Yeah. So started drinking that. We recently got a new machine at the house,
Okay.
and
For mud water.
no, for coffee, an espresso
Okay.
machine. Then
Okay.
now I'm like dipping, crawling back in because
Okay.
it's delicious.
Yeah.
But what was your specific question about coffee? Is it
I don't-
okay?
I mean, what's better, tea or coffee? That's the
You know
real
what?
question.
Yeah. I think what's better?
Yeah.
Whatever you
What
drink
you
and
like.
makes you happy.
Yeah.
That's
all
what's
right.
best. Like in all
Such a-
cases. So
Such a diplomatic answer.
no, not to be
I know.
diplomatic, but you know,
I'm being silly.
I love tea. I drink like immense amounts of tea. But I also like coffee.
Yeah.
There, if you like go for depending on who's sponsoring the study, there are studies that say
Yeah.
that coffee is also fantastic for you.
Sure.
It could be
Sponsored by
sponsored
coffee makers.
by
Mr. Coffee.
Mr.
exactly,
Coffee.
Mr. Coffee or Mr. Brown or whatever. The fact is, me in particular, I drink coffee and it also makes me happy. I don't drink as much coffee as I do tea.
Uh-huh.
But every morning, my wife and I have a cup of coffee because if she doesn't have coffee, life is not good.
Yeah, everyone
so
knows.
for anyone.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, I
Uh,
understand.
and some of these coffees can be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of the people that we
True.
work with who make coffee are exceptional. I would recommend the podcast Plants of the Gods. And there's an episode
Okay.
about coffee,
Cool.
which is very enlightening. And a couple of not to spoil the whole episode for you guys, but just like there's a stoned ape hypothesis or theory.
Yeah.
There's one about a caffeinated ape,
Interesting.
Oh.
which is kind of interesting because
okay.
humanity happens to be or have been born in the Horn of Africa,
Right.
Yeah.
which is
there's
exactly where
coffee.
there are some coffee beans. And there's a relationship, apparently, between coffee consumption and the Renaissance.
Oh.
And
Whoa.
a lot of the Renaissance people were consuming
Oh yeah, Voltaire was famous for drinking a lot of coffee, wasn't he? Yeah.
right. Well,
But like absurd amount, like
That's so
like 20
interesting.
cups.
Yeah.
And again, not to make a spoiler, but the fact is, before that, well, water was very dirty, so people were drinking a lot of beer,
Yeah.
and then
So
coffee
then they
became
were-
popular,
Yeah.
and they switched beer, which I also like.
Yeah.
But they switch drinking beer all the time to drinking coffee all the time, and then you get these guys on
Yeah.
Wired who are writing like stupid. So
Yeah,
how do
who
you
went
write an
from being
encyclopedia?
drunk
I've got the best idea. I've got the best idea. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, apparently there might be a relationship between coffee and the Renaissance, which was
That's
a good thing,
cool.
mostly for humanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. If
All
it
right,
makes you super happy, and
So coffee's all right.
I think so.
Right.
And so is beer,
Yeah.
and
You know-
wine for French girlfriend.
Thanks for
Yeah.
including that.
Yeah. And scotch for some other people at the table.
You know what? Whiskey's so good.
I do know.
All right, our next one, we're doing this again, but with scotch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Scotch is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, my answer to is coffee okay? I think it's just like anything else, like when things start becoming excessive or, we have to have them, it's like our relationship to that thing is more important, I think, than maybe necessarily the thing, right? I might have one glass of scotch and it's moderated and I'm present to it,
right.
and I do that every night, and I think that's healthier than the guy or gal who gets in a fight and has 6 glasses of scotch, or even 2.
Soda. Or just chugs like 200 grams of sugar before sleeping.
Yeah.
Right.
Another good example, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. And if you drink scotch and you're feeling great and you're mindful about it, then it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, like how you relate to the tea, similarly, how we relate, how we're showing up in our habit is, I think, so important.
Absolutely. No, I think you're right. And some of those guys in the French Revolution, they had a lot of coffee and they ended up badly, maybe without a head and stuff like that. So, so maybe a little bit of coffee.
Maybe a few too many ideas.
It was
some of them, like it could be the ideas, could be like, honestly, if you give yourself a heart attack, then it's bad.
Yeah.
If you cannot sleep, it's bad. So as with a lot of things, I think it's about consuming it and feeling how it works for you as a person. And if it becomes a must and you're addicted, then maybe
back
off.
Maybe back off.
Well, it's so interesting having been off the coffee sauce for a while and then starting back up. I love it. I love the taste of it. And so it was so easy to, I'm working from home, walking by the machine, like I could have another one, like I'm going to just keep this rolling here. So it being mindful is the trick.
It's important. Right. And same thing, if you grind some beans and get your little basket and get a shot of espresso and you're paying attention to what you're doing.
A really present experience. Yeah.
Right. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen how they do it in Ethiopia. Just YouTube. I hate the word, the use of the word ceremony. I don't think it's the right use of the word. Not even in tea. I don't think that ceremony is the word that should be used.
Yeah.
But
it's like what the Japanese do with matcha, the Ethiopians do with coffee. Is it like that?
Well, not necessarily. No.
Okay.
It's not the level of sophistication of the process. No. But the Ethiopians have a really interesting process, very natural process of consuming coffee, where you get the green beans and you have little charcoal and you roast them.
Oh, that's cool.
And you mash them. And it's super, like you're roasting your own beans. I wouldn't say that you can get the same kind of flavors and complexity that you get with like third wave properly or expertly roasted coffee. But it's delicious. I have a campfire coffee roaster. And sometimes I just like to go camping. It's kind of cold and you roast your own beans.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
This is a really cool place where I think coffee drinkers and tea drinkers can meet each other a little bit more. Like a lot of people who really feel like they appreciate coffee, they're like really into coffee. They know all of these different flavors of coffee, they know how the
different preparation.
Totally. And they have an appreciation for that, but they don't know anything about that. The whole world of tea is immense like that. And perhaps even more immense than the world of coffee.
Well, so I don't ever like to get into the conversation of which one is better because it's just whatever is better for you. But what is a fact is the world of tea is broader and even more so than even wine. And the reason why I don't think that's even up for discussion, that it's a fact, is because, first and foremost, for wine, like for most of the wines that we enjoy, they come from Vitis vinifera. And if you've tried any of the Northeast U.S. Labrusca wines, they're just not very delicious in my experience. But you focus mostly in vinifera and the cultivars. And with coffee, you can get Robusta and you can get Arabica. I've tried some Robusta that's actually pretty good. The vast majority is from Arabica, and the vast majority of the seeds that we get in the Americas came from this one plant that came from a garden in the French king's collection in France. There's also a shorter history than tea. So tea has a history of maybe 5,000 years of being grown in one way or another. And you have your Camellia sinensis, your Camellia sinensis assamica, and the Thaliensis and all the, weird things, the other camellias that we have out there.
Yeah.
And then with processing for coffee, you mostly roast it.
Right.
And different degrees, like light roast and whatever. And then you might have some fermentation of the beans. You have your naturals, your washed, you have your purple honey, etc. but with tea, you have the greens, which are unoxidized, the blacks, which are oxidized, the oolongs, which are everything in the middle.
Everything in between.
Everything in the middle. And then you have your bug-bitten teas, like Dong Pha Miren, and you have your fermentations in all kinds, and you have your aging process. So just the diversity of the world is flabbergasting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, which one is better, honestly?
No, they're both amazing in their own
And coffee is
way.
great. I drink coffee every day too.
Yeah.
This is actually a conversation Heather and I, we were at O5 earlier, and Heather
Just
made
being
a joke.
creeps. We couldn't wait.
We couldn't wait to go back with you. We were like, no, we need to go there first.
Thank you.
So we were having some matcha, and Heather made a joke like, this doesn't taste like coffee. And, obviously it doesn't taste like coffee.
No.
Not a
You were
surprise.
supposed to tell him.
That's
No,
okay.
I'm
Sorry.
kidding.
It doesn't
Embarrassing
taste like
moment.
coffee. That's okay.
We can cut this out of the podcast.
It's true.
Keep it in.
It doesn't taste like coffee.
But this is a great question. In your experience, are there certain teas that coffee drinkers will more readily appreciate than others?
Well, the answer is yes. And so as you can see from our collection that we have at O5, they're weird and they're difficult to pronounce and there's all this weird stuff. So the way the way the system works when you pop into our bar, if you might be well acquainted with some of these, and then you can choose, and then we'll make it for you gladly.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of people who come and they don't have an experience with tea.
Yeah.
Or they're there because they're dragged by the girlfriend and the guy's like, I don't drink tea. And
Right.
We've got a bunch of those.
Yeah.
And then the question is, well, what do you drink? We should ask, because our goal is to make whoever comes through our door, they need to be happy with whatever they chose. So then we need to learn a bit about you, which is the same thing that you when you do martial arts. You have to give a cue so you get something from your opponent and then you can act. But first you need to receive something.
This is like a koan. This is like an exchange.
It has to be an exchange.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
So we ask you, like, what do you drink?
Some sort of
what
mondo.
kind of beer do you drink? What kind of wine do you drink? And then based on that we can create something that has a flavor profile that we believe will not be the same, but will be appealing to whatever drink makes you happy.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you say, I like natural Ethiopians, well, perfect. Then I get the idea that you like the kind of sweetness and complexity and hints of fermentation. So there are certain cooked pu'ers that will give you that kind of kind of density and that kind of mouthfeel that will most likely be appealing to a guy who drinks or a girl who drinks natural Ethiopians.
Yeah.
So
you might start somebody with a pu'er.
Yeah, totally.
Like a coffee drinker, you might start with a pu'er.
Depending on yeah. Or yes. And we need to learn. It's really important to know a little bit about your drinker before you start opening your mouth and putting things in front of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we think that that's going to be the drink that makes them happiest, then absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Or for whiskey drinkers too. Yeah. For example, if you like Islay whiskey, are you into
like
Islay's?
more peated. Yeah.
There are certain teas that, because of the way they are fired, they will have all these hints of smoke.
Yeah.
That it would be appealing to an Islay drinker. If you said, I hate Islay, I only like Highlands. Okay, then we need something that's a bit more delicate. Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay, what about red versus white wine drinkers? Like, what are you recommending to those folks?
To red and white wine? Well, the red and white are very complex. So, for example, if you say something like, I like Austrian whites, like Gruner Veltliner.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then what I would probably do is I would choose a Gyokuro from Yame, and I would make it on ice.
Oh, interesting.
Right, in an ice brew. It takes about 5 minutes, but you get a lot of the super bright green things that you would get that you get out of a Gruner. And if you say, what, I need something that would be akin to a Piedmont wine, because I'm gonna make lamb chops and I need something akin to a Piedmont. Well, there are certain pu'ers which we could also serve in a glass similar to a Piedmont wine, which would be good for pairing with your meatier, heartier dishes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very
Sweet.
cool.
Yeah. So it's a bit about just the more information that you can give us about yourself, anything, the better that we can make suggestions for you to drink tea or make some tea
customize
for you.
it.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So really, the fact that you have such a broad palate, like you appreciate coffee, you love all different kinds of wine, like that actually helps you as a tea connoisseur and a tea hunter. and a tea curator.
It does. And you'll see the vast majority of people at our bar, they're pretty adventurous. They'll drink anything. So they come from different backgrounds. We have a guy from Bhutan and a couple of girls and a guy from Japan and one from Taiwan. And it's a very diverse team.
Yeah.
So you'll see us. Oh, also we love food. So
Yeah.
you will often see the bar closed when we close at 6 p.m. and somebody cooking or sharing food.
Sweet.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
sweet.
There's a lot of food being served at the bar of all kinds.
I have a question. So you're out there hunting tea. I imagine you have on, like some kind of sword, potentially a big hat. Yep. Have you ever had any like risky or scary things happen out there?
No, luckily, nothing really scary.
Nothing scary.
Yeah.
That's great.
That you're allowed to say.
No, forget that. Like I said, I just, most people have been fantastic. I've had more experiences of people just, it's weird. Like you climb a mountain, somebody says, "Hey, where are you staying?" And I'm like, I don't know, stay in my house. I've had more experiences of just bunking somebody else's sofa and people being kind and feeding me than anything that ever feels threatening.
Yeah.
Nothing.
What about a few of those? Like maybe that's a nice place to end is like, some of your takeaways from being a tea adventurer, from being this National Geographic Superman of tea. Like,
thanks, man.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite experiences, things that you've just learned as a human being from this process?
Favorite experience. I think that one of the takeaways is that the vast majority of people are super nice. Like that, wherever I've ended up, there's been someone who helps in some. I was just talking about my friend Mr. Chang Tao who says, "Hey, I think you don't know enough about white tea," and says, "But I can fix it. Let me call my friend and you're going to visit this guy." And then I went to learn about Tibetan tea and said, "Dude, don't worry. I have this friend in Sichuan. He's a 5th generation tea maker and he's intangible cultural heritage of China." So he set me up with his friend in Sichuan. There's that. Or my friend Lu Jiaming, who I've visited a bunch of times, and he says, "Okay, why don't you hop into my pickup truck?" And then we go 10 hours in the mountains.
Yeah.
For nothing, because my business for him is peanuts. I buy too little tea to be a bleep in his bottom line.
Yeah.
But the guy's fantastic, and he's taken me all over that place. Or my friends, you have to meet at some point, Gao Feng and Fan Xiaoli. The last time we went to visit that guy, and he had a couple of whiskeys because he does like whiskey.
Yeah.
And he started doing calligraphy, and he gave me. So he's a very famous artist. On top of doing tea, they're like Renaissance people. The guy and lady, tea and music and incense and all of them.
Cool.
It's annoying how talented they are.
Yeah.
Annoying. And he said, "Dude, let's make some pieces." So he made these giant scrolls of calligraphy with poems and all about the visit of Jeremy and me. He writes our Chinese names, and these guys came to Xishuangbanna, and now I have these.
That's so sweet.
That's
big
lovely.
piece of
So
art.
beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
So take away the vast majority. Of course, there are some times when some tea that you order is not the right one. And there's always been like a slightly sour experience.
Yeah.
But in balance, I think the vast majority of people are super cool.
Yeah. Wonderful.
People coming to the bar too. I think it's amazing, all the people that you meet coming to the bar or by email.
Okay, I think I have one last question.
Go for it.
Of all the different teas, what's your current favorite right now? What are you reaching for most often?
Dang. Well, it's a tough one because it changes throughout the year and it changes throughout the day.
But today, what would you, if you had to choose one?
I have a hard time focusing right now, but what pu'er is extremely cool, partly because I just came back from that land, but also because you have trees that can be 8 meters tall.
Yeah.
And every batch is phenomenal and you can age it. And I do drink a very, very healthy amount of pu'er.
Yeah.
I would probably say, like, if I'm forced to choose with a gun, I do drink also a lot of matcha, and I love my Phoenix oolongs. And Wuyi Mountain has a very special place in my heart. And those people in Bhutan are doing something fantastic. And then there's Ishimoto, who is 89 years old, and it'll be the 3rd year in a row that we go and visit her and make tea, living in an abandoned building, because the only place to stay in the village is an abandoned dojo, which is in perfect shape, and it can host maybe like 20 people. And there's no there is running water because it was broken, but I paid for the repair.
Oh, sweet.
Cool.
That's
And now she
beautiful.
allows us to stay in that place.
Aw.
If you want to have a hot bath, it's possible, but you have to chop wood. And
Yeah,
you need a friend because there's a firewood boiler.
Yeah.
And you can sit in the ofuro and have a bath. But if you don't have a friend who adds twigs while you're bathing,
It gets cold real fast. Yeah.
So you need a good friend.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it gets cold fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend going and seeing Ishimoto-san one day if you're in the Tokushima area. She's phenomenal. And there's an abandoned dojo to bunk in a village of 11 people.
Beautiful.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pedro. And
Most
in the
welcome.
spirit of what you were saying of like this world of tea and people generally just being really kind and sharing
Mostly,
out of
yeah.
the, like, I feel like this is what you've done with us today. I just so appreciate you doing this.
Well, thanks for coming from so far away. And
Yeah.
It's a delight.
Yeah.
It's wonderful getting to know you
I
a
know.
little bit.
I was also thinking when you were saying that, it's like, this is the energy that you're attracting. You know, this is like what you put out, you're definitely
thank you.
getting
Thank
back,
you.
it sounds like, which
You know
is
what?
great.
I think the universe has paid with, even more so because I've never met anybody on the street and say, hey, come to live in my house.
Yeah.
But over there, there's been some people like, just stay here and make tea with me. And
Wow.
or my friend Zhang Wenhua said, dude, you should come here and I'll teach you Tang Dynasty and Song Dynasty. And like,
Okay.
why?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
thank
But
you.
yes,
Yeah.
please.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to learn Tang Dynasty and Song Dynasty. And, in Bhutan, we had an invitation from the government of Bhutan to go and learn about. So the visas
Whoa.
are very expensive, but thank you, government of Bhutan.
Yeah.
And
That's sweet.
went to see
Very cool.
those guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, mostly it's really nice people. Thanks for coming over here
Yeah.
so far.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pedro.
Enjoy
Really
BC. I'm going to give you some stuff to take to
Yeah.
Whistler.
I know. Exciting.
Great.
Yeah, let's drink one more.
Okay.
One more. Thank you a million. This is so much
Anytime.
fun. So you don't know this. I haven't explicitly said this to you, but it's been 6 years now that I've been drinking 05 tea.
Thank you.
And from the beginning, I've been wanting to come here in person. I always thought at the time I was in Seattle, so I was like, it's a 3-hour drive. I'm sure I'll come. And then the pandemic hit. So 2019, fall of 2019 is when I started drinking.
Mhm.
The pandemic hit, and then I couldn't come for a few years. And then I was in Brazil for a year.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Portland afterwards. And I always thought, sometime I'm going to go up there and visit. So this has been like a really special.
Thanks for the support all those years.
Yeah.
I'm going to go past your place. I'm going to go through Portland and then all the way to Medford early next year.
Well, you have your friend in Medford.
My
I would love to host you sometime in Portland. You always
you.
have a place to stay.
Thank you,
Same
thank
in
you.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
My mom has a beautiful place along the river there. You can stay as long as you want. Like,
Thank you.
yeah.
You know, one of the problems, and my wife always makes a joke out of this because she said, don't invite him because he will go.
No,
This
no,
is
we want
perfect.
that. We
This
want
is
that.
perfect. With this group, this is,
Perfect. Thank you.
yes.
Because my friend in Mongolia said, and he told me, you know what? I've been telling people to come forever, and you're the first one who actually comes. So yeah, I
Because,
actually,
yeah, that's
I
you.
actually
You're
do.
that guy.
I actually do go.
Where we are in Seattle, we have it's actually like little, almost like Airbnbs. It's open now, but you would have your own room, your own stove,
Thank you.
the kitchen.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll send you a picture at a later time.
Yeah.
I have a little corner.
I'm telling you, it's
That's
like
all
a
tea. It's
tea
literally
altar.
just like
Super cool.
a whole layout of different teas. It's not quite as much as you have in 05, but it's like
Close.
Well, let's talk about the collection because if you're up for a few cakes, there are a few cakes that are lying right now in my warehouse that I just
Lovely.
got from our good friend Mr. Zhang Tao, and who, yeah.
So I really want to try to get back into pu'er. I don't know if I ever mentioned this on the podcast, but last year I had this big health issue and I couldn't have anything fermented.
Yeah.
Anything, even pu'er. I would try to
It
drink
just
pu'er.
didn't fly for you.
It was immediately, my breathing would become difficult.
Okay.
Now
yeah.
my health has been much better this year. And so
Okay.
I haven't tried pu'er. And I have I've tried some fermented things and in small amounts it's okay.
And
So I
starts
I
feeling
want
a
to
bit
try
better.
and see.
Yeah, let's see. If it doesn't work, then
Doesn't work.
Doesn't
Yeah.
work. But if it does,
I mean,
there's,
I loved some of the flavors, but it
Yeah.
was just starting to get into it. I had bought one of these boxes of pu'er from you guys.
Damn.
And then I was like, I can't drink it. Actually, you know which one? You had that beautiful, like, long and the shorter, it was like not quite as tall, the box.
Okay.
And it was
Oh,
wider. You know
yeah,
that one?
yeah,
Full of the pu'er?
Yes.
I had
yes.
gotten that one. Or maybe it was one of these. I forget.
We did a collection. We did we had a couple of puer clubs.
Yeah.
How about anaerobic fermentation? Did that work for you? Was that bad for you also?
It doesn't seem to be as much of an issue.
But greens were flying better for you for a while.
Yeah, like anything not fermented was going
was the right one. Yeah.
I think I can try again now though.
Well, try
the oak ash.
Try a small sip and then we'll see if it works.
We could go to the bar later and try some.
Perfect. Yeah, well, I'll give you a little chunk of that one. I usually say there's no tea grown in Tibet because that's mostly like most Tibetans drink tea that's made in Sichuan, Hunan.
I see.
Not in Tibet. But I was proven wrong. And
hey,
I have a friend who just gave me this little bag of Tibetan tea.
Cool.
It's a newer garden. It's mostly run by Tibetans, and the leaves look horrible and broken. And just perfect.
And
they're actually really good. Yeah, it's actually super good. It's actually super good.
Yeah.
No pesticides. It's like 3,000 meters above sea level. So just
you don't need the pesticides.
No. You actually don't. But I'll give you guys a little chunk. Maybe drink it tomorrow after the spa, just so that we don't ruin any spa experiences.
Yeah.
But try it tomorrow.
Perfect.
Exactly. Do not ruin a spa experience. We'll see.
Oh man. This has been such a treat.
Yes, totally.
Well, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah.
My pleasure. And you know where the bar is anytime.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
It was so nice meeting you. What a lovely, lovely chat.
A pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.